Let's shark into this video. Why zombie deer disease is a biological nightmare. Featuring chicken, rice, and corn, biscuits and syrup.
Disease is close to death. There are enough prions in its brain to kill every other deer in North America. That single animal, wandering a forest, drooling, stumbling, barely aware of its surroundings, is carrying a quantity of infection.
I ran over a deer the other day. It was on accident, of course. But like I was driving, and like that bitch that came out the woods, bro. I couldn't stop or nothing. I'm going 25 miles per hour. It was a baby. And I looked for it, but I think it was too late. I tried to help it. You killed Bambi? Well, hear me out. Kill is a strong word. I think that deer, you know what they mean. It went on purpose. I mean, that motherfucker just came out and I kept going. I mean, I stopped afterwards, check on the car, check on the deer. But I mean, that was like hit and run. And GTA, I'm talking about a GTA. And GTA 5, because 6 ain't come out yet.
This material with no parallel in wildlife biology. And when it dies, those prions will enter the soil. They will persist there for at least 16 years. They will be absorbed by the grass, and the next deer to graze on that ground will consume them. This is what chronic wasting disease does to a deer. It turns the animal into a biological weapon against its own species, and then it turns the landscape into one too. Now, I genuinely think I'm not overhyping this. Long before the deer shows a single symptom, it has been shedding infectious prions in its saliva, its urine, its feces, its blood, and the velvet of its antlers for 1 to 2 years. Every shared water source, every mineral lick, every nose-to-nose contact with another deer is a contamination event. The animal looks healthy. It moves with the herd. The result is indistinguishable from a slow, systematic poisoning of everything it touches. As of August 2025, this disease has been confirmed in 36 US states and 5 Canadian provinces. Experts believe it will be present in all 48 contiguous states within the next decade. And at the same time, researchers confirmed something that changed the entire scientific picture of how CWD spreads, something that makes it even more deadly than we first believed. But to understand why that discovery matters, you first need to understand what CWD actually is, because what this disease does is so strange that for years, the scientists who proposed it were dismissed. That's because the mechanism violates a fundamental rule of biology, and that's part of what makes it so hard to stop. Chronic wasting disease is not caused by a bacterium. There's no virus, no DNA, no RNA, no living organism of any kind. The infectious agent is a protein. Every cell in a deer's body produces a protein called PRP. Under normal conditions, this protein folds into a specific three-dimensional shape, performs its function, and gets broken down. In a CWD-infected animal, some of those proteins have folded wrong. The structure is shifted from flexible coils into flat, rigid sheets. And that single change in shape makes the protein insoluble, invisible to the immune system, incapable of converting every healthy PRP molecule it contacts into a copy of itself. The process is silent and relentless, and over months and years, the accumulating mass of malformed proteins destroys brain cells, leaving tissue riddled with holes, a sponge where a functioning brain used to be. The mechanism is so counterintuitive that many biologists spent years refusing to believe it. Biological information flows from DNA to RNA to protein, never from protein to protein. That is a central dogma of molecular biology, and prions break that rule. They are self-replicating molecules with no genetic material whatsoever. The immune system can't defend against them because it doesn't recognize the misfolded prion as foreign. It's a version of a protein the body itself produces, only bent into a shape that kills. So there's no fever, no inflammation, no alert. The body doesn't register the attack until the damage is already catastrophic. CWD is always fatal. No animal has ever recovered from it. There is no treatment, there is no vaccine, and a disease with a 100% fatality rate has managed to spread to more than 2/3 of the continental United States. Timing is the reason. The prions began accumulating in an infected deer's body, concentrating in nervous tissue, lymph nodes, muscles, and glands, long before the animal shows any sign of illness. During this preclinical window, which stretches from 1 to 2 years, the deer sheds infectious prions continuously. Think about what a deer does in a day. Grazes across hundreds of acres of shared ground, drinks from communal water sources, licks mineral deposits, makes physical contact with other deer repeatedly. In an infected animal, every one of those behaviors is the disease spreading, all while the animal looks fine. In the final weeks of life, the picture changes. The deer loses weight, its ribs and spine press against its hide, it stumbles, its head droops, it stares blankly at nothing. Excessive saliva drips from its mouth. It may walk in repetitive mechanical loops, stripped of its instincts, indifferent to predators and to people. The disease, by destroying the brain, has dismantled the animal along with everything that made it wary. But by the time any of that's visible, the deer has been contaminating its environment for more than a year, the prions are in the soil, and that's where the story
Hey, on some real shit though, I ain't even being funny. Do we need deers? Like, do we need deers in the world? Like like that's a genuine question. Like I don't know. We need a lot of animals. Why? You going a lot of animals? I said deers. Ecosystem balance
becomes something that wildlife managers genuinely describe as unmanageable. Prions don't behave like biological pathogens once they leave a host. They bond to soil minerals with extraordinary tenacity and remain infectious indefinitely on any timescale relevant to wildlife management. Studies of scrappy, a related prion disease in sheep, documented persistence in infected pastures for at least 16 years after the last infected animal was removed. Researchers left the fields fallow. They decontaminated structures and equipment. They waited. They reintroduced healthy animals. Those animals got sick. The prions were still there. To destroy a prion requires sustained heat above 900 degrees Fahrenheit for several hours. Standard sterilization, heat, radiation, bleach, formalin, leaves them intact. There's no known procedure that can decontaminate a CWD-infected landscape. Basically, once a patch of ground is seeded, it stays seeded. In 2015, researchers at the University of Texas Health Science Center confirmed that grass plants, in laboratory studies, absorbed prions from contaminated soil through their roots and transported them into stems and leaves. The plants became carriers. A deer grazing on CWD-infected ground may be consuming infectious prions in its food, not through contact with a sick animal, not through shared water, but through the pasture itself. The entire landscape becomes part of the transmission system. This is what I mean when I say an infected deer is a biological weapon. Even after it dies and decomposes, the prions it carries persist, saturating the landscape long after every trace of the animal is gone. So how far has that saturation spread? CWD was first identified in captive mule deer at a Colorado research facility in 1967. The first wild deer with the disease was confirmed in 1981, and for 2 decades it appeared regional, a problem of the Rocky Mountain West. Then in 2002, it was detected in wild deer in Wisconsin and Illinois, a geographic leap eastward that signaled a new phase. In 2023, it was confirmed in Yellowstone National Park, home to thousands of elk, deer, and moose crossing an unfenced landscape in every direction. In 2024, it reached Washington state. By August 2025, the CDC confirmed it across 36 states and 5 Canadian provinces, with no credible model showing that number stabilizing. In Montana alone, CWD is now found in 33% of hunt districts across all susceptible species. In parts of Wyoming, mule deer herds have already collapsed. Mathematical models built on those population trajectories projected possible local extinction within 41 years. The only modeling scenario in which the population held stable was one in which CWD was entirely absent. The disease, in other words, has one known cure for wildlife populations, and that cure is the absence of the disease. In places where it's already established, that's not an option. Brian Richards, the CWD project leader at the USGS National Wildlife Health Center, described the situation bluntly. Where it's established, it's spreading and growing. We have a lot of geographic areas with relatively recent detections, and we really do not have a very effective arsenal of tools with which to manage this disease. Now, remember the recent study I mentioned at the top, the one that made the situation even worse? Well, here's what it found. A team led by Dr. Candice Mathiasen of Colorado State University, publishing in the journal Scientific Reports, confirmed something researchers had suspected for 25 years, but had never documented in free-ranging wild deer. CWD can be transmitted in utero, from an infected doe to her unborn fawn before birth. Mathiasen first began pursuing this question in the year 2000. Her team detected infectious CWD prions in fetal tissue and at the maternal-fetal interface, the point where the mother's blood supply and the developing fawn.
This shit says the more it spreads to other animals, the risk of it adapting to humans increases. But he just said the humans can't get it, so we can get it. Like what? Huh? Say, bruh. Nah, bruh. You ain't hear what I just said, nigga. I just hit a dip. Nigga, I'll be the first one gone just off of that. Come on, bruh. Y'all scaring me, bruh. Can we or can we not? I need to know so I can prepare. The risk increases if it spreads to other species. We can't yet. Oh my God. We gotta get... Nigga, how we stop this?
Tissue make contact. During gestation, small lesions develop at that interface, and prion-laden blood crosses between them. The fawn is infected before it even draws breath. That fawn will look healthy. It will graze and roam and make contact with other deer, shedding prions for a year or more before any sign of illness appears.
Because we don't want
Even
to.
worse, the surveillance programs built around testing harvested adult deer are systematically missing these young animals. The populations these programs are monitoring are more infected than the data suggests. Mathiasen described vertical transmission as, quote, yet another reason why this disease is so efficiently spread, and provides another modality that we've not really spent much time thinking about as a community. And separately, prions have now been detected in reproductive fluid and tissue in infected white-tailed deer bucks, raising the possibility that sexual contact constitutes an additional transmission route, one invisible to every surveillance framework in use before this discovery. The deer is a biological weapon against itself at every stage of its life.
Oh my
Before
God.
birth,
That
through the
shit
years
still
of
from-
asymptomatic
oh my
shedding,
God.
in the final stages when its carcass seeds the soil, and through the grass that grows above it. Which raises a question. Is this a wildlife story or something bigger? Here's what one state has already shown. A hunter's license, a pickup truck full of gear, a tank of gas, 2 nights in a small town motel, the local processor who turns the deer into venison sausage. The economy built around deer hunting supports rural America in ways nothing else can replace, and it's built on the assumption that deer populations are stable. Wisconsin demonstrated what happens when that assumption breaks. When CWD was detected in wild deer in 2002, hunting permit demand dropped 5.4%. That decline, sustained over the following 13 years, translated to a loss of $96 million in hunter surplus and $17 million in license revenue from a single state. Surveys conducted since have found that up to 49% of hunters say they would stop hunting deer and elk if CWD prevalence in their region continues to rise. In a disease that is now confirmed in 36 states and expanding, this threat has moved beyond a hypothetical. It's likely to happen. And yet the economic question, as serious as it is, may not be the most urgent one. Every year, an estimated 7,000 to 15,000 Americans eat meat from a deer infected with chronic wasting disease. Those numbers come from the Alliance for Public Wildlife, and they're projected to grow by 20% annually as the disease spreads into new states and new deer population. The meat looks normal. The deer look normal. And there's no tests that can be performed in a hunter's kitchen to determine whether the animal they harvested was carrying a fatal prion disease. In April 2024, a case report presented in the journal Neurology described 200...
Deer is pork or beef? They gotta be beef, right? Beef is... Yeah, deer is beef, right? It's venison. Nigga, I don't know what that mean. Nigga, I said pork or beef. You talking about venison. Nigga, what the fuck is a venison, nigga? That's Venom cousin, nigga. What the fuck is that? Nigga, I don't know what that is. Beef is cows, nigga. And pork is pigs, nigga. It's neither. Y'all, alright, cuz.
Hunters from the same hunting lodge who died of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, the human prion
Venison is
disease,
deer.
after consuming venison from a deer population confirmed to carry CWD. Both men had eaten meat from the same source. Both developed the same fatal neurological condition. The researchers described the cluster as, quote, suggestive of potential prion transmission from CWD-infected deer to humans, while acknowledging that causation remained unproven. It's important to be precise about what that case report did and did not establish. Both men were diagnosed with sporadic Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, the spontaneous form of the human prion disease, which occurs in roughly 1 in a million people every year with no known cause. The researchers themselves emphasized that no confirmed link to CWD had been demonstrated. The lead author later clarified that the presentation was not a full research study, but a case report, and that there remain no proven cases of CWD transmission to humans to date. The CDC also says no confirmed human case has been documented. That's true, but it's also incomplete. Human prion diseases can incubate for 30, 40, 50 years before producing symptoms. If American hunters started consuming infected venison at scale in the early 2000s, the first deaths from cross-species transmission, if it is occurring, would not show up in the mortality data until the 2030s or 2040s. Absence of evidence in this disease is not evidence of absence. This is the specific argument that Dr. Michael Osterholm, who directs the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, has been making for years. Osterholm is the epidemiologist who warned British authorities about mad cow disease's risk to humans before that crisis fully emerged. In testimony to the Minnesota legislature in 2019, his words were precise. It is possible that human cases of chronic wasting disease associated with the consumption of contaminated meat will be documented in the years ahead. It is possible that the number of human cases will be substantial and will not be isolated events. He has described CWD as a slow-moving disaster and has warned that it could produce an American version of the BSE nightmare, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, the mad cow disease outbreak that crossed from cattle to humans through contaminated beef and killed 178 people in the United Kingdom, required the slaughter of millions of cattle, and cost billions of dollars to contain. The prion mechanism in BSE was the same. The species barrier between cattle and humans was also considered meaningful before it suddenly wasn't. CWD is present across the US. It's being consumed by tens of thousands of Americans, and the window between exposure and detectable illness in human prion disease is measured in decades. So what are wildlife managers actually doing, and is any of it working? Targeted culling programs in high prevalence zones.
I think I'm good because I don't eat that shit. So I should be good, right? I'm good. The only animal I done ate that most people probably don't eat, I ate some goat. But I didn't eat it, I drank it. Pause. Listen. When I say I drank it, I had some goat milk type shit. We good? Yeah, we overly good. I don't eat no goddamn deer, and I don't plan on it. Keep my pigs and my cows safe, nigga. We good, nigga. We Gucci.
Attempt to reduce deer density and slow transmission rates. Mandatory testing requirements are expanding. Movement restrictions on live deer and carcasses try to prevent hunters from carrying infected tissue across state lines, one of the primary mechanisms by which CWD has historically jumped from region to region. Surveillance programs.
But the thing is, the disease can persist in deer meat basically forever. So if you ever had deer meat, you could be cooked. I ain't gonna lie, gang. I don't think I ever had deer meat. Ever. Like, bro, I can't name a time I ain't never ate no deer, nigga. I ain't never ate no deer.
Are being redesigned to account for the newly confirmed transmission routes.
Wait. Hold on, let me move this shit if I dox myself. Nigga, I damn near want to cry. You laughing and shit, nigga. I'm dead ass serious, bro. No bullshit, bro. You see these little patties right here? Bro, I think I tried it when I was little, bro. I didn't like it, but I tried it. It probably not contaminated. You good? Nigga, you just said if I ever had it, nigga. No! Summer! No! No! No way! That come from deer? Oh my! Oh, nigga. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I might die. Gang, it only produces symptoms in deer. It only make deer sick mud. You read check.
It only make deers sick, chill out.
No, but bro, I used to eat summer sausage. Like, nigga, I didn't know summer sausage was. Bro, but what if they say like you ever had it, you gonna die? You don't know, nigga. You don't, nigga. How you know what my tomorrow gonna be? You don't die. How you know, bro? I need to detox my body, bro. I'm detoxing my body. I'm drinking nothing but water. I'm going on an egg diet. I'm just gonna change my fucking life around.
Research into genetic resistance is underway. Some deer carry a variant of the prion protein gene that appears to slow, though not prevent, CWD
But I don't want to
progression.
be them people.
In the
bro.
modeling of a Wyoming mule deer herd, selection pressure from the disease was projected to preserve a small remnant population carrying that resistant variant, even as the broader herd collapsed. It's a fragile hypothesis and a slow one, contingent on the disease not advancing faster than natural selection can respond. Vaccine development faces a wall that basic biology has not provided a way around. The immune system doesn't see the misfolded prion as foreign because it's a variant of the protein the body itself makes. So there's no antibody response to amplify, no pathogen surface to target, and decades of research have not produced a viable candidate. The consensus among wildlife scientists is eradication of CWD is not achievable in areas where the disease is established. That environmental reservoir, prions in the soil, in the plants, and in the water, cannot be eliminated. The only window for effective intervention is before a region reaches endemic levels, before the prions are woven into the landscape itself. In many parts of North America, that window closed years ago. In others, the newly detected areas, the recent expansions into the west and southeast, it could remain open for a short time. The decisions made in the next decade by researchers, state wildlife agencies, federal policymakers, and the hunting community that funds most of American wildlife conservation will determine whether the deer populations of this continent survive the century in any ecologically meaningful form. The disease is accelerating. The transmission routes are multiplying. The prions are in the soil of 36 states. And in a late stage infected deer decomposing somewhere in a forest right now, there are enough prions to kill every deer in North America, and they'll still be there 16 years after the animal is gone.
I mean, but deers populate like fat, like a lot, like so, like. Nigga, I fuck them deer. I'm worried about me, bro. I don't want to die to no damn deer. Look. It says studies. Oh, you can. It says studies show that from lynchings such as and can degrade the CWD prion protein. These lynchings produce a special enzyme that breaks the protein apart, making it harmless. Maybe I'll get the live.